Hey everybody, welcome back to Skygrid with Boomer. So, I know it's been a few days since we've last chatted. I tell you, I've been really busy. Did a lot of overhauling Slimefun over the last 3 days at the base, and before this day is over, I promise you we'll get up to it, take a look at what we did, but in a nutshell, we realized don't have the capacity that I needed to produce some things. They had a few big buyers on the server, and I kept finding myself literally having to spend half the day uh, making more product. And not that I don't mind it, I loved it. But at the same time, it got to be the point to where keeping up became, nearly impossible. And so what I've done is tripled my manufacturing capacity when it came to ingots and smeltering. And in addition, set up a bunch of auto crafting to where I just drop off the shulkers. It does all the work for me. Got my nice cup of coffee this afternoon. Well, actually this evening. And I don't even know what time it is. Anyways, so what are we doing here? What are you staring at this block here for, huh? We are working on a new location for our shop. We've decided, given as many things as I have running, when people come to my shop, quite frequently the FPS just drops too far for some people. And so, not that my laptop is top of the line gaming laptop, but it holds its own. I tend, even under the biggest demands, generally don't fall below 25 FPS. So I'm able to hold it, but a lot of people aren't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my shop to right here, right where you see me, right here, right here. Where the heck are we? Well, we're on my base. And all we've done is cleared out the first layer y equals 4 on the grid, put down a 40 by 40 grass slab. Technically I should have done a 41 by 41, but that's okay. I'll fix that later. And we're going to build the new shop right here. Now I've actually built the floor and most of the design in Creative. And we're going to start building this today. Right here. Now actually I have on my phone, I took a picture of it and I'm copying that over from my phone to the server. The nice thing I had is our server Fennec has a creative server as well, in addition to Skygrid, survival, factions, prison, PvP, and all sorts of other game modes. We also have creative, and whenever I find myself trying to come up with a design or something, quite often I don't go in a single player. I simply hang on to the Matic creative server, go over there and start messing around. So what this is going to be, and this may change as we go, but it is going to be what I'm going to call the Octopus. Coming from the center, there's going to be 8 corridors off of this center where shops are going to be lined up. So we'll have one going here, one here, one here. You get the idea. We're going to divide a circle into 8 even quadrants and build the shop with that in mind. So when it's done, the shop will be able to have 512 different shops. Now, how many do I actually have prepared right now? Roughly 260 to 270 shops that I'm able to stock on a regular basis with very little effort except for Slimefun. We're going to try to up that even more. But what I'm going to do, a lot of it is going to be, I'm going to craft a full double chest at a time. It's not stuff that's probably going to move all that fast, but it will be enough to where I think it's going to be worth stocking those kind of shops up. So I'm going to build for a little bit here while we're talking. And for those of you who play on the server on a regular basis, you know the last few weeks have been a bit of a struggle. We've had a lot of TPS issues, a couple of restarts, and guys, in working with staff and talking with Fan and trying to figure out what's going on, probably 98% of it is player created, meaning Slimefun resources are what's actually lagging the server. And a couple of suggestions that I've gotten back from the admins that can help reduce this lag, I want to pass on to you guys, because I think everybody wants this game to be fun as for everybody who plays. And when the TPS drops to 6, 7, 8, I mean, at that point, you know, the server is really struggling to keep up. So there's two things that they've, really three things that I've heard, and I think some of you may already know, that we can do as players to help out the server. See, anybody who watches the Hermitcraft series knows those guys build big, and they do it deliberately, but there's usually only 4 or 5 people on at a time, maybe 6. Right now, we have roughly 32 people on, and we peak around 45 to 50. When you put that many people on the server, and you put a lot of intensive resources, demanding materials in at play, and then you get a lot of people AFKing at heavy server demanding latency type of things, you got to expect we're going to create lag. So 3 things that I'm going to part with you guys right off the bat that hopefully if you don't know, you will put into place. So number 1, redstone clocks. Now, redstone clocks are allowed on the server. However, they should be kept to normal, reasonable rates. In other words, you should not be running, 20 redstone clocks at a time. And this comes into play a lot with Slimefun plant farms and especially the diamond farms. I know myself included, I run 8 different plants and I run them off of 2 clocks. Now, for the Slimefun plants, running a redstone clock under 2 tick speed is a waste, because dispensers, when they fire bone meal, the fastest a dispenser can refire a bone meal is 2 redstone ticks later. So if you've got the clock cranked way up to where it's as fast as humanly possible, essentially putting 2 observers back to back, and that's what you're running your clock off of, your dispensers only fire about 40 to 50% of the time if you're lucky. So first of all, oops, I missed. Do yourself a favor. Set your redstone clocks up so that they only fire every 2 ticks. And then with redstone clocks, please, if the farms are not active, shut them off. All you're doing is creating and causing more lag on the server, and you're upsetting more people. And all that really ends up happening is, you slow the server down for you and everybody else. So please, be kind, shut those clocks off when the farm's not in use. All right. The second big thing that I've heard from staff that we can do. So in Slimefun, if you are, hang on real quick. I got to explain something to an admin. Just 1 second. Okay. So the second one is with Slimefun, the cargo networks. When you are setting up your network, and I do this too, you turn on the network and you turn on the visualizer in the cargo manager, and to do that you simply right click that block that turns it on and off. When you're running that, those lights are flashing on your screen. That causes lighting updates on the server. The more lighting updates are, the slower your FPS, but it can also lag the server a little bit. So when you're done, please remember, turn off the CargoNet visualizer, and that will help reduce lag on a server. Now, I don't want to imply that Fan has not done an outstanding job in trying to manage lag on a server, because I really do think he's got a lot of tools and resources in place to try to help with that. But when you have, I'm going to say 500 to 1,000 people who are on the server every week running these networks, it's I don't care how much RAM you throw at the server, there's only so much you can handle. So between watching redstone clocks and watching the cargo visualizers, there's one other thing that we can do, and I really think it's just about being friendly. Is if you're AFKing and you're building AFK farms, simply build it to reduce the amount of lighting updates that are taking place. In other words, close them off. Close them off for the public. Don't be at angles where a lot of lighting updates can occur. And then also, I guess, really to add one more thing to that too, is only run what you need. Um, you know, there are those of us on a server, and I'm guilty of this at times too. We build and we build and we build because, I don't know, it's what we do, right? That's kind of how the phrase "go boomer" or "go home" got started on the server, is because I tend to build insane projects that, you know, I end up storing way more than I need, and I'm learning to cut back and realize that no, I don't need that much, and I can't add either. Look at this, I put this in the wrong spot. So, you know, be server, be user and resource friendly, and you know, it's not about who has the most. It's about making it an enjoyable experience for everybody else. There we go. I knew I messed that up there. See, and you can even see right now, you can visually see I'm having trouble. Anyway, so sorry about that, guys. I had a quick call I had to take. So anyways, just trying to be friendly to everybody in the server, being considerate, and not running things that cause additional lag on a server. You know, it's much more enjoyable for everybody when we work together to you know, keep the server friendly, and able to run efficiently. And you know, I know there's always somebody that wants to push the envelope, and that was me for a long time too. You know, I'd like to see, hey, what can I build? What can I do? How fast can I make it? How powerful can it be? And I've, you know, learned a lot since then. That one, again, it's not beneficial to anybody, and two, you just don't have to do that. You know, Mojang has evolved the game a lot to where a lot of resources are much more easily obtainable, and you know, more and more people are doing the same thing as far when it comes to, you know, on servers, you're building shops or warps and places and things for people to do, and so there's more than enough resources and materials already on the server. So like, you don't need to have 30 double chests of cactus. You will never sell that before the map resets, and if you do, then you have somebody who's really hard up for green dye, I'll tell you. But you know, this should be a fun experience. So that's just kind of you know, my what do you call it, public service announcement for the day. So Boomer does public service. Anyways, so getting back to the Slimefun thing, yeah, I just couldn't keep up with the demand. I was crafting so much per day. So what I've gone back and done, and we'll go back and look at that in a little while. I want to build as much of this here with you as we can. I went back, and while I tripled, yeah, you're not escape this lecture, right? I tripled the capacity, but I cut the time that it runs in down to about 1/4 of what it used to take. And so it runs for a short period of time, and I don't run as many items through the smeltery systems as I used to. So what I can do is I can get a shulker's worth of material crafted in 5 minutes, whereas before it would take me 18 to 20 running the same amount of smelters. So I've just simply tripled the efficiency of any one item and running the same amount of smelters if I were running 3. I used to run 15 to 18 at a time, and now the most I'm generally running is 6. I just have them all built because I hate moving stuff in and out of network and cargo nodes and such. And so I've tried to simplify the process to where it doesn't take forever and a day to get there. So just wanted to take a quick time check, see where we're at. Once I get this down, I'm debating the original design for this has me turning this concrete powder into actual concrete. So I'm going to look at it and then compare it to the original, and I've got my phone next to me here looking at this, and you know, the more I look at this, I kind of like the concrete powder a little bit more. I mean, I know you can't see it. Here's my phone. You want to see it? No, of course you can't see it. But me comparing the two side by side, I really like the texture of concrete powder. I think it does really nice against the backdrop here. And whoops, it fits in better, I think, with the glazed terracotta. And I think it's giving it a really nice appearance. There, give me some light. So that just the multicolor in there, I just think blends really nicely with this. So we'll continue to build this out, and I might make a decision to keep it. Just to give you an idea, when this is all built, it's going to be surrounded by prismarine. Whoops, that's not right. We're going to be using dark prismarine and prismarine bricks to contain what I'm dubbing the Octopus. And that's going to be the new shop on the server. It'll be the new Warp Boomer 1. So you can kind of see what's happening here. I can't... Here, let me get way up high. Let me jump on top of that. And let's kind of look at it. I know I didn't clear. So at some point we'll come back and clear. Yeah, this is not a really good view. It's kind of hard to see it at a good angle, but we'll work on it, and I'll have to, come back and do some additional clearing because I'm planning on putting a dome on top of the center. And that's going to kind of represent the head of the octopus. So I'll come back and do the grid clearing above this for the dome. I'm the only one that's going to see this on the outside unless somebody goes to Warp Hourglass, runs through my base, checks the entire 1,000 by 1,000 block area to find it. And if they do, great. Well, then they'll be able to see it and eventually, look at it from the outside. But to start with, I'm going to be the only one that's going to see this. So I'm not too concerned that the grid around it isn't cleared. So I think what I'm going to do here is just kind of finish this section up a little bit because we've been recording for a while and I want to get to up top and show you what I did with the smeltery systems before we get too far in this episode and I've got to call it a day. So stick with me for just a moment and we are going to finish this section up. I was working with an admin. Somebody set a warp at my base, at my shop, which was fine. But since we're moving the shop, I want to remove the warp because that area is going to become my villager trading hall. And I want that free and clear. I don't want people coming in and messing up my villagers and trading with them. Now, I have a way around it. I can simply deny anybody into the protect block area, and until that warp's removed, that's probably what I'm going to do. So you're kind of getting the idea, though, here of what's going to happen. There's a little bit more blue that's got to be added in. Let's see here. So it's 1, 2, buckle my shoe. And then, yeah, so we have a sea lantern here. We have 1, 2, whoops. How did I do that? 2. Wow, I can't do anything today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. And then blue is 3 on this one, right? Down here, or then at 1, 2, 3, 2, and a lantern. Yeah. And it's not that we have to worry about mob spawning. I just hate dark builds. I really do. I don't like going to my base, or my shops and not being able to see clearly. So it's not out of necessity that we're letting this up. I think it just looks good, plain and simple. Yeah, there we go. That's even, right? Yes. There, we got it. All right. So then we, right? Yeah, 3 on the outside. And then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting the hang of this. I only built this a couple hours ago. You'd think by now I'd have it memorized, right? Of course, Boomer. You should. So we're going to finish this off camera. I'll finish up the floor. But for now, I want to take you back up to the home base. We completely tore out the ingot storage system. And we've redone everything. So let's come back here. We finish up the power generators that were similar to Star Wars on a previous episode. And now this sends out the dust to two different sides. One, this side is actually being used for dust storage. This is the Ilmango Shulker, say that really fast, Shulker sorting system. That's what's over here. You can tell I have two of them that are out of empty shulker boxes, but I'm done with those for now. And on the other side is ingot storage. So these are being automatically turned into ingots and then being stored in shulkers. And then I bring about a chest or an inventory's worth of those at a time. These are the ones that are being done ahead of time. So aluminum, copper, iron, lead, silver, tin, zinc, and gold. I'm not doing magnesium because we don't use magnesium pretty much for anything. I'm going to be adding some additional ingots to the warp. I'm going to be carrying all the golds from 4 carat through 24 carat. And then these are ones that are all crafted. So everything that's a raw material is over there, plus the gold. And then these are all items that are crafted through my multi-smeltery system. So I now have 3 smelters that can create each type of ingot. And all I do is place a shulker box with the raw materials next to the input node, an empty one at this output node, and it does all the work for me. I don't have to load it. I don't have to unload it. It does it all right for me. And then I just pick up the empty and the full shulkers and put them away. Every item that can run through the smelter, I think with the exception of synthetic emeralds, are set up. And I have 2 bonus ones for extra uses. So if I need to make a lot of gold real quick, I have 2 of them that are designated for all 11 different carats of gold. And if I need to make even more, I can run 2 more, or I can use other options. Okay, so those are all built in. In addition, we've set up the same thing when it comes to auto crafting. So if I want to make batteries, I lay down 2 shulkers of zinc ingots, 2 shulkers of copper ingots, 2 shulkers of sulfate, and 1 shulker of redstone dust. I should probably name that. Not that I can't already tell what it is. Put down an empty shulker. It will automatically craft everything in here. Give me a shulker full of batteries. Now, take it from there. I want to make electromagnets. Drop down a shulker of cobalt, 1 of nickel, 1 of a magnet, 1 of a battery. I get a shulker of electromagnets. Same thing. Drop down copper to create copper wire around an electromagnet. Gives me a motor. Drop down copper over to electric wire or copper wires over electric motors. Gives me a heating coil. I can do the same thing over here with creating solar generators. So we do the same things to make solar panels, to then make a basic solar generator, the advanced solar generator, the carbonado ones, and then ultimately the energized ones, which can run at night. Now I also set up a bunch of other automatic crafting tables and 1 other recipe. This one's for cargo motors. And then I can go in here, and I haven't set these up yet, but if I want to make, let's say, weatherproof obsidian, I'll be able to right click and simply put the ingredients in here and auto craft it versus having to set it up myself manually. So that's kind of the update that took place. It was a lot of work. It took me roughly 3 days to do all this, mainly clearing and setting that up, redoing all of it, and then redoing that, programming all those smelters and input nodes. So we're still in our science uniform. We're going to continue to do some science on survival soon. And then I'll come back to you at the next episode, show you a finished base, hopefully at least the final process of it. I want to thank you guys, as always, for watching. Appreciate any input you have, suggestions, ideas, criticisms, and feedback, positive or negative. It's the only way you get better is by learning, and we're very grateful for that opportunity. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. But as always, when we say on grid, you have to go boomer or you gotta go home. Minus the lag. We'll see you later.